Hello, fellow peasants. So I just got back from watching Mission Impossible Dead Reckoning Part 1. I'm going to tell you what I think about it. Alright guys, to be honest, I'm not a big Mission Impossible fan. I've seen the first film, and I've seen this film. And I've seen bits and pieces of the films in between, but I have not seen the rest of the films in their entirety. I really like the first film. It has a European espionage, very old school vibe to it. And what I like, first thing I'm going to tell you right off the bat, what I like about Dead Reckoning Part 1 is they go back to that style. The camera work, the tone, the dialogue, it feels like the first film. It feels like that espionage thriller vibe that you get with the first film. It's really nice. I was not expecting that with this. Really, I was expecting something similar to what I've seen of the other films. I wasn't expecting them to go back and kind of make it just a little bit more old school, and I really appreciate it. In terms of the story, I like the story. This is basically about AI wanting to take over the planet, control information, and possibly destroy humanity. So that's really interesting. It's not something it's not a new idea. We've tinkered with that in AI, iRobot, and Terminator 2, but this time it actually it's cool because we're actually using AI now to do stuff. We're actually there's AI songs, there's AI movies, there's AI commercials, there's all this crap now that can be done with AI. So we're on the edge of actually being able to use the type of stuff that they were talking about back in the 80s and 90s. We're actually using that stuff. I really liked the action. This movie just doesn't really stop. When it does stop, it's okay because it's explaining what's going on. It's explaining the plot, what they need to get, what they need to do, and then jumps right back into the action. It deserves its 3-hour runtime. I don't think it's exactly right at 3 hours. It's 2 hours, 45 minutes. It's damn near close. But the whole time, you're entertained. If I had to go back and cut anything, I probably wouldn't. Everything in this film is needed for it to make sense. There's no way to take an hour or half an hour out of this film and it be as good as it is, in my opinion. Is this a film that I would watch again? Maybe, but I don't feel like I need to. I'm not a diehard action fan, so action films aren't something that I really, really, really love. Now, I do like old school action films like Die Hard, Rambo, Independence Day, Jurassic Park, things like that. Like the old school Indiana Jones, films like that. I like some of the older action films, but in the last 15, 20 years, I just don't find myself enjoying action films anymore. I always keep going back and relying on the old classics. Trying to think here. One of the scenes I really like in the film, there's a lot of scenes I like. The car chase scene is nice. It's really funny. There's a moment in the movie where the AI or whatever system Tom Cruise is using to pick the next car that he's going to be driving during this car chase ends up not being the kind of car he wants, and it turns into a really funny joke. I also like the train scene. The train scene in this movie is where it's at. I mean, if you feel the movie drags on a bit, which I didn't, but if it's worth it to sit through this film to get to the train scene. Because the stunt where he goes off the motorbike and parachutes off the cliff, and then he lands, he comes onto the train, and they're fighting on this train, and it crashes. Just the stunt work, the action, the suspense is very nice. I'm trying to think here. In terms of cinematography, it's shot very well. Once again, they did go back to the old school camera angles that I appreciate, that harken back to the original film. The acting is very well done in this. The writing is very, very good in this. I never once felt that the dialogue was cheesy or too over the top. There are some points in the film where you do have to suspend disbelief a bit. Because you're like, there's no way they would have survived that. Or there's no way that car would have done that much damage or not been damaged itself by now. There's certain, or like, wow, that's impeccable timing. What's the odds of that? But it's an action movie. It's a Tom Cruise action movie. It's a summer blockbuster. And sometimes you just gotta go, whatever. It's a movie. I'll take it. It is what it is. So you kind of gotta overlook that type of stuff. But man, Tom Cruise has still got it, man. Tom Cruise, excellent. Plays Ethan Hawke the same way he did 25, 26 years ago. The stunt work is amazing. I mean, the dude constantly tries to kill himself with every movie he does. There's just scenes in this where you're just like, yeah, that's him. That's him on the bike. That's him on the train. That's him. I mean, they purposely, like, if you go watch this film, which I highly recommend, this is a film you need to see in the theaters. You shouldn't be streaming this crap. This is a film you need to go see in the theaters. But they intentionally let you know that it's Tom Cruise doing this stuff. The way they use the camera, like for example, it looks like it could be any guy from far away riding on this bike going through the woods and stuff. But then when he gets up close to the camera, see, a lot of movies, they would cut away and then do the up close shot of the main actor on the bike. But they do it all one shot. They let you know that it's all one shot and that it's Tom Cruise doing some of this stuff. And it's really impressive. The guy's willing to break his neck and kill himself for our entertainment. But I gotta give him credit. Like, what you see in this movie, they don't make these types of action movies anymore. I mean, clearly they do because this exists and it's in theaters. But it's very rare to get an action film that has as much, like, they did as much practical stuff in this film they could do. Are there some spots where you can tell there's some green screen in the train scene? Yes, but it makes sense. You can't have actors hanging on train cars that are hanging off a cliff. I mean, you just can't. There's stunts, and then there's just like, okay, we're gonna get somebody killed here. So I understand, but they only use green screen in the situations where you're like, okay, there's just absolutely no way we would have a human being do that. So it makes sense in those situations. But the rest of the time, he's doing it for real. And you can tell they're on the streets. They're in the streets driving these cars. They're actually doing this shit. And the fact that this film was shot during COVID, like at the height of COVID, and they were able to access these roads and accomplish what they accomplished during COVID with protocol and all this is pretty impressive. Overall, in terms of pure entertainment, on a 1 to 10, I would give this a solid like 7.5. The only reason I wouldn't give it a 10 is just because I don't think it's up there with the best of the best. I don't think it's up there with Terminator 2, Jurassic Park, Rambo, the biggest action films of all time. I think it's a damn good movie, but I wouldn't put it up there with some of the all-time greats. But yeah, guys, I had a really good time watching it, and I don't know what else to say. I kind of get on here and just bullshit and come up with stuff off the top of my head. If I sat here and thought more about the movie, I could come up with some more details, but off the top, it's great. Well directed, well shot, well acted, worth 3 hours, worth your money. All right, peasants. Peace out. Bye-bye.